Welcome to Beneath the Wing. Just like air passing over the wing of an aircraft provides lift, the people we meet can also give us lift in life by sharing their stories of strength and success, connecting us all. Beneath the Wing explores the stories of the men and women connected with the Minnesota Air National Guard's 133rd Airlift Wing. This special series is dedicated to our airmen's first-year stories. Hear from our wing's newest members, from enlisted aviators to electricians, aircraft maintainers to medics, and all jobs in between. These airmen have transformed from high school students to dedicated and involved members of the 133rd Airlift Wing family. In their own words, they'll share how they chose their military job, the connection they have with the team, and how they have changed from young civilian to American airman. I'm your host, Wing Command Chief Mark Legvold. Joining me today on Beneath the Wing First Year Stories is Airman First Class Ashley Boros. Ashley grew up in Princeton, Minnesota. She graduated from homeschool and the PSEO program, which I'm still learning more about, with her full associate's degree at graduation from high school. And then she joined the Guard, and here she is with us at the 133rd. Welcome, Ashley.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going great, and thanks for taking time out of your day to talk with us a little bit about your first year experience. So let's just start there. What brought you to the Air National Guard?
I was kind of debating about going back to college again, and my parents were really pushing to go back to college, and I decided, let's go military of some sort to kind of get them off my back, and then kind of just stuck with the idea. My older brother is also here down on base, so he already had a foot in the door, and I was originally going to go either Air Force Reserves or like Army National Guard, but with him being Air National Guard, he mentioned it to me and decided to go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So a good place to come to get your parents off your back.
Yeah.
But also a great place to come and serve. You had different choices, though. You could have joined the Air Force Reserve.
I could have.
Why did you choose the Guard?
I like the idea of still being like nationwide, so to say, but like the same time being like first responders to the state and stuff like that. Plus with my brother, like it was probably, in the end, I don't think there was a major deciding factor, but with my brother being National Guard as well, kind of just made the deciding factor, I feel like.
Absolutely. And such a good point that you bring up is the idea that as a part of the National Guard, we can get called up by the governor and help within the state, whether it's a flood or a fire or domestic disturbance or something else where the state really, really needs us. COVID response was a big one for us. You came in a little bit in the middle of COVID,
Yep.
right? And so didn't necessarily get a chance to go out and do any of those domestic operations. You joined us as a civilian high school student in August of 2021, but you didn't leave for basic until March of 2022.
Correct.
How did you spend your time between that August and March when you were coming out here for drill weekends?
Just working a lot in between. Obviously coming out of here for the drill weekends and whatnot, but otherwise just going about like my normal day, like civilian life, so to say. It's working anywhere between 40 and 60 hours at a time, so
you were balancing a part-time job and coming out here on those drill weekends. What was a drill weekend like for you, not having gone to basic training yet in that gap time?
we would meet here with our units at whatever our show time was. So for us, it's like 6:30. I know other units around the base are 7. So I would show up here at 6:30, hang out with the guys, go to the first part of commander's call, and then at 8 o'clock we would head over to student flight, which is where they would send all the kids who haven't gone to basic or tech school or anything like that. And from there we would get split up, and we would either go over to the DFAC and help serve lunch with the kitchen people over there.
So you'd go to the DFAC, which is the dining facility.
Yes,
That's what we call it out here.
Yep.
Okay.
And we would be like cleaning tables, serving food, washing dishes, pretty much just helping out wherever was needed. They're over with the services people. Otherwise, if we were not part of the group, to go over to what we call KP, Kitchen Patrol, we would stay in the classroom and we would get different like briefings and other information about about like the Air Force and the National Guard and different resources that we had available to us.
So they kind of taught you a little bit about what it's like to be in the military before you actually showed up at basic training.
I wouldn't necessarily what it's like to be in the military, but a lot more of like the benefits that we have. Like they explained to us a lot about like military one source. I'm blanking on all the other briefings, but like they had a panel of kids that had just gotten back from tech school come in, and we were able to ask them all the questions about basic and all that we had. So just like a lot of the resources that are opened up to us here.
That's great. And so they give you that, all those briefings, all that information. March 15th, 2022 rolls around and you get on a plane and head down to basic training. What did you do to get ready to go to basic training?
I wasn't really stressed that much about basic training.
Really?
No, like when I first enlisted, I was, but especially like talking to other people here and there and talking like my older brother and stuff like that, everyone's like, you'll be okay. It's not that big of it. Like, it's more of a mental game than it is a physical game. Like, they will prepare you physically however you need to down there. There's girls who couldn't do a single push-up when we got there, and by the end of it, they're doing what they need to pass their PT test, their physical training test.
Yeah.
So, I'd say to prepare for BMT, honestly, just spend a lot of time with like my friends and my family, and get my life prepared to be on hold for like 6 months, so to say, back here or whatever.
Yeah, so basic training lasted about 7 weeks?
Yep, about 2 months.
Okay, and then right from basic training, you got sent to a pretty crummy place in the world.
Pensacola, Florida.
You had to go to Pensacola, Florida, and that was your technical school,
That was
correct?
my technical school, yep.
What was that experience like for you? I mean, I know everybody thinks about basic training, and it's standing up straight, doing a lot of push-ups, marching around, and taking some classes, learning how to be in the military. Once you're in the military, the Air National Guard, the Air Force sends you to a tech school. It's kind of like a community college for people in uniform, right? What was that experience like for you down in Pensacola?
Well, being on
Stop
the
smiling,
beach.
it's winter and it's -3 today.
Right. Being on the beach, it was pretty great. It was a lot of fun. My job, there was very few Air Force down on our base because it was my job and then 2 other jobs. So it was a tight-knit group. There's maybe 200 of us Air Force kids there. The rest were all Navy and Marines. But it was nice. It was a night and day difference. You felt like you were doing everything wrong coming out of basic, where you have to march everywhere you go. You have to be in certain uniform at all times of the day. You're not allowed your phone or anything like that. You have to, like, you're set at 3 times a day. You're eating no other meals. You can't snack or anything like that. And coming to tech school, and you have pretty much all the freedom you want in the world. And it was honestly shocking at first almost. And I remember walking around with a couple of the guys being like, I feel like we're going to have like an MTI, military training instructor, at any time, jump around the corner.
Those friendly people with the
Those
round
friendly
hats on.
people, yep. Jump around the corner and just start yelling at us and have us drop to our faces, start doing push-ups or something like that. But no, it was really, really nice. It was a lot of fun. Got close with a lot of people there. Obviously learned my job, but made a lot of good connections down there too.
Yeah. Ashley, I'm sitting here. We're just outside of your shop. You are an aircraft structural maintenance apprentice right now, correct?
Yes.
But you're working your way up and learning those skills. What does an aircraft structural maintenance apprentice or craftsman do for the Air Force?
We do the structural parts of the aircraft.
So you work on the planes?
On the planes, yes, correct.
All
So we also get called sheet metal is our job, because of a lot of our job is sheet metal. So if there's like a dent in the skin on the airplane, we will buff that out. We'll fix that. If there's a crack in the plane or any of the substructure or primary structure, we will handle that if it's at our level. So if it's too big for us, then we send it down to depot. I'm not sure what that stands for, I'm not gonna lie, but that's where they do all their major maintenance and stuff like that. But stuff like a rivet being loose, crack, a dent, on one job, like a tool or something like that, a nicked piece of metal, we do those types of repairs.
And that stuff is important to make sure our planes keep flying and are in tip-top shape.
All the structures and substructures, yep.
So you can pretty much bend, shape, mold, weld.
We don't do welding. Welding is a different is a different AFSC,
Okay.
which is our sister shop, Metals Tech. But we do all the bending and pretty much all the major aluminum work
All right.
at the plants.
Especially on the outside. I asked Ashley before we got on the podcast what her favorite color was, and what color was it again?
Gray.
Air Force plain gray, which
Yep.
is just fantastic. You think of people that work in a shop for a living. One doesn't necessarily think of a recently graduated high school young
Yeah.
woman.
Not at all.
How were you drawn to this particular career field?
Not gonna lie, I never saw myself here working on airplanes ever. I was never like one of the airplane geek kids or anything like that. But when I came out here, when I was in the process of enlisting, they gave us a job tour. We could go around, tour a different couple jobs and stuff like that. Well, the kid that I was touring with, he wanted to see a lot of the maintenance shops and stuff like that. So we swung through. And the guys in the sheet metal shop here, they really caught my attention. And they told me straight up what the job was. They told me what their what expectations would be, the benefits of it, the cons of it. So, I mean, at the same time, they were all super friendly, nice guys right off the bat. So, kind of sparked my interest there. And then it was either that or going security forces. And I thought about it, talked a lot with like my older brother and a couple other people, and just narrowed it down to which do I see myself doing more. And I was like, well, I've grown up like working with construction and on cars and stuff like that and the maintenance, so why not jump in? I don't know too much about metal, but can't be too different, right? So
Yeah.
I decided to go with what I would enjoy more.
And you've been back from tech school now for give or take a half a year or so?
Yeah, got back September 2022.
Are you happy with your choice?
I am. So,
Why?
like I said, the guys in the shop, they're amazing. They really are. We all laugh all the time. We're all joking, we're picking on each other. And at the end of the day, they're almost like brothers to me.
Yeah.
But job side of it, I fell in love with it. Like, it kind of sounds like cliquey or whatever and cheesy, but in tech school, it kind of started coming easy to me, and it's not much different from what I used to do. So it's just with metal, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. You're an aircraft structural maintenance artist, right? There's a good passion there for you. So going through your day, you're working on something called upgrade training.
Yep.
And coming back from a tech school, you kind of had the basics down.
Yep.
Did you get a little extra time to practice your craft?
Yeah, so when we came back, or when I came back, my shop chief was really great about, and still is to this day, about being like, hey, if you have any questions about anything, don't hesitate to ask. If you want more time on anything, don't hesitate to ask. He 100% is on the side of slow and steady, because he would rather me learn versus just rush through, get it done. But yeah, I mean, right now I'm working on a training project in the shop just because we got spare time and stuff like that to do. So knock it out, see where I'm at skill-wise and whatnot. So
It's a step-by-step process getting you fully certified and ready to
Yep.
be considered a craftsman, right? No rush. You have
No
a good
rush.
teacher,
Yep.
good mentor and
Yep.
trainer.
Yep.
You mentioned these guys are kind of like brothers to you. Are you the only woman in the shop?
I am the only female in the shop.
How does that go for you?
At first, I was a little worried, not gonna lie. But like I said, they treat me like a little sister sometimes, most of the time. And we pick on each other all day long. But at the end of the day, like, they all have my back, and I know that. But it's a great group of guys, it really is.
I'm glad to hear that. It's a similar refrain with a lot of the other first-year airmen that I'm getting a chance to talk to. Is they come out here for various reasons, and they really do develop the sense of family in their small shop. When you were back at high school, and I understand you went through homeschool, right? And then at some point through Anoka Ramsey, you went through the PSEO program. Graduate high school with a full associate's
I
degree
did.
and then some. Are you planning on going back to college?
It's in the back of my mind right now. Originally, when I enlisted, my thought was 100% no, I don't want to go back. But I guess as time goes on, I'm sitting there thinking about it. I mean, it's a good benefit that I have access to is some of the funding. So I'm thinking about it, considering it.
Sure.
So.
Okay, fair enough. You have a lot of time.
I do.
In a career. Ashley, you are working out here with us temporarily on a paid status. So you basically finished high school, went to tech school and basic training, and then you came back here and fell on into a full-time job.
Pretty much.
Is this a place where you feel like you could stay for a full career?
I do. Not even, I mean, my shop, I feel like I could be there forever. I don't feel like I get old of it or sick of it. But there's always places and room for improvement, both in yourself and in your like professional career side. So even if I would say get bored of where I'm at or whatever, like there's always somewhere up I can go. So
Maintenance is a big place.
there is a lot in maintenance.
Yeah,
So
and the Air Force is a big place. One of the cool benefits, and I took advantage of this too in my career, is you get a chance to go into a completely different job and never lose one bit of pay. It's a heck of a deal.
It is.
Thinking back to your high school self,
Okay.
a whole year ago,
Whoa.
right? Well, a year and a half ago. How have you changed as a person since joining the military?
I have grown stronger in myself.
How so?
More of a sense of knowing who I am a little bit, more independence, but at the same time, understanding that I can't do everything on my own, and that I have a support system, and that they're there for me, and that there's a lot of times that I do have to call on them, and that is 100% okay to be asking for help and to be calling on them. But a lot of maturing, I would say, like between the basic and the tech school period of time, like one morning I woke up in basic and it was almost like a switch that was just flicked, and I just felt like I knew who I was a little bit more and like a stronger sense of myself.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting that you put it that way, because when a lot of people think about what basic training or military service in general is like, they say, well, I don't want to lose who I am.
yeah,
And yet you seem to say that you learned a whole lot more about really who you are
yeah.
and became stronger in that. What do you think flipped that switch?
I don't know. I would probably say like just waking up being like, holy cow, I'm in the military. Like it's not just all like a fun joke type of deal. Like no, this is my life. Like this is what I signed up for and agreed to. Like it's not just a background thought. This is what I'm doing. It's what I looked up to. Like as a little kid, you'd always like in parades or whatever see folks in military uniform and be like, whoa, I have a lot of respect for them. Like they're doing something that most people cannot do, and then wake up and realize that you are part of the 1% that is doing it. It's kind of eye-opening in a way.
Yeah. I hope you keep that sense of pride in what you're doing, because you're right. It's not everybody can serve in the military, but those that can and choose to do that, there is a good sense of purpose in that. You talked a little bit about your brother. He's not in the same small organization as you. What's his job in the
His
military?
job is cable and antenna.
Okay.
So he's part of the 210th group over here. So he does like all of like the ground cables and stuff like that. There's like a lot of fancy words for it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Was it easier to join because he was a part of the organization?
I would say so, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You knew that your brother was here. You knew you had that close tie. Not everybody has that luxury of having a relative that is serving. When it comes to a sense of belonging and togetherness in an organization, what was the first time that you really had that sense of this is where I belong? You mentioned the tour, and the guys are fun and all that other business, but is there a time where it really clicked where, yeah, this is a great place to be?
Probably, there's probably like a couple situations I could think of. The first one that really comes to mind is the guys in my shop when like the first time that they gave me a nickname and it stuck. So, because at that point it's like, whoa, they're accepting me, and like I belong here now, because now that's what they know me as. That's what they refer to me as. But that, and then everyone you talk to here and everyone you meet, like, I've noticed this not even just here on base, but down in Florida too, and down in Texas too. Everyone already has a common like interest, so to say, or starting point. So it's easy to like go off and talk about that and branch off and have conversations about that. And everyone's accepting of everyone. And it's not like coming out of high school where everyone's like super cliquey or everything like that. It's a sense of like we're all part of one team.
We all had to go through the same level of this sucks in basic training, and everybody gets to share those stories. And we run into our counterparts in other branches of the service, and they tell us how soft we are. Yeah, you know what? We'll take that, right?
We'll take it.
Absolutely. So you've been to Texas, San Antonio. You've been to the terrible place of Pensacola, Florida. And
so bad.
Braved through 4 months of that. Have you traveled at all since coming back?
Since coming back, I got the opportunity to go down to Homestead, Florida, for a mission that it was like 2.5 to 3 weeks for a mission that the maintenance group was assisting with and running down there.
Did you fly down there on our planes?
Yep. We actually took a J model down there. We have C-130Hs up here, but we had a C-130J model come up, pick us up, and then we flew back on one of our planes here.
Okay. How was that experience flying on a military plane? What's that like for somebody that's never really done that?
It was fun, not gonna lie. I liked it a lot more than traditional commercial flying.
Why is that?
More comfortable. The leg room, kind of. I mean, gets a little packed in there when you put 2 whole crews in there, but it's just doesn't feel like you have to stay in your seat the entire time. Oh, I can't be too loud or anything like that. Like, they're already loud. You have to wear noise canceling headphones, like, and even still, but it's relaxing. It's easier in a way.
When people think about flying on a plane, they normally think, sitting in a regular passenger seat on Delta, United, American, any of those big ones, where you're facing front. How did you sit when you were on the military plane?
We were all sitting against the walls of the cargo department, the cargo area. We also had a row of seats in the middle so that we're sitting there facing each other for if need be. But nope, not sitting there facing forward, looking at the back of the seat. You're looking at each other.
And nobody brought snacks or cup of coffee?
Oh, we all brought snacks. We all had snacks. And then what's really cool is those who have flown before and have gone on like different deployments and TDYs and such before, they all, once we're up in the air, they all go get their portable hammock and they go and hook it up to the back of the plane. So when you just walk back there, it's just hammock on hammock on hammock on hammock.
Yeah, everybody's taking a nap.
Everyone's
in the back
sleeping.
of the
They got their Netflix going and snacking and passed out.
How nice, huh?
Yep.
What are your goals for the rest of your term? You signed up, you're thinking about getting a full-time job. If this is, what are your big goals, not just for your military career, but also personally for Ashley?
Personally for Ashley? Ooh, I haven't thought about that one for a second. Military-wise, like you said, we're working on getting me full-time down here, so that'll probably mean for sure extending my my contract right now, but I'll figure that out in 4 years when that comes time.
You signed up for 6 years initially.
Yep.
All right.
So
did you have an option, by the way?
Nope, not with National Guard.
Okay.
So, but personal goals, probably, I'm kind of thinking about getting my A&P license.
Tell me what an A&P is.
Airframe and power unit, power something. It's pretty much your license to go work on planes on the civilian side.
Okay.
So with that license, though, you do everything from not just the structures, which is what I'm used to, but engines, hydraulics, all the fun, everything. I'm thinking about going and getting that or going to get my welding certificate and possibly, say for whatever reason I don't end up full-time down here, going to an airport or an airline and being like, hey, here's what I'm certified in, what can you guys offer me? So kind of thinking about that, but as of right now, probably the plan is just to stick here, and then probably go buy land up north or something like that and start eventually building my dream home. So
sounds like a good thing. You told me that you like your peace and quiet, but you're still kind of a people person, right?
I am.
How does that look for you on your time off? Because obviously you're not wearing the uniform every day, 24/7. What do you do in the time off, and how do you balance time off and work?
Well, on a daily, I live an hour away from base, so on the way home every day, it's a good hour, 20 minutes with traffic or whatever, so I get my time to like decompress myself there. And then usually I get home, I spend time with my dog, and then end up going pretty much straight to the gym where me and a couple of my gym buddies, we go hang out, work out for a couple hours, and then usually come home and make dinner, get lunch ready for the next day, and shower, pass out usually by like 10:30ish. So.
And then up in the morning.
And then up in the morning
back
right
down for
away.
this.
Yep.
Right straight through the Twin Cities, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, good for you. Glad that you make that long drive. If you're looking for a good podcast recommendation for your trip, I have one.
Oh, really?
I sure do. You can listen to yourself on this one. Obviously, growing up in Princeton and having workout buddies and a good social circle, is this something that you would recommend for people to try out? And if so, why? If not, why not?
I would recommend it. I wasn't so sure if I would fit in when I was first signing on or enlisting.
Why is that? Is there a stereotype that you thought you had to fit?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, just kind of more of like your tough jockey, so to say, is like kind of more the stereotype that I thought I had to be. But I decided to just say go for it. And like I said, it helped me find who I am, give me a little bit more sense of myself. But on top of that, there's a little bit of everyone here in the military. You got the nerds, you got the jocks, you got the artists, you got all of it. So if there's like any sort of interest that you even have a small bit of interest in, there's so many opportunities for you to take from there. But on top of that, if you want to try something new but aren't sure how it will go, it's easy to try something new here. On top of that, with being National Guard, part of the reason why I chose to go National Guard or Reserves versus going active duty was I wasn't sure if I was going to like it at all. So by going National Guard, it gave me the option of being 1 weekend a month, put the uniform on, and then be able to go back to my civilian life. So it was like trial, so to say, being like, it's easy. I'm not going to say it's easy to forget about it because it's part of who you are, but it doesn't overwhelm you. So if you're not looking and if you're like unsure, like that's why my older brother decided to go National Guard, is because he wasn't sure if was for him. And he didn't fall in love with it, so it's perfect for him because he spends his weekend a month and he's got his buddies down here. He loves them. He loves his job. He does, but it's just not for him. But it was a good way of saying, I want to try it out without signing your life away for like 4 years, so to say, and being shipped off to who knows where. So.
And he's balancing that civilian life and the military life.
Yep.
And you get to do this every single day.
I do.
Free clothes.
Exactly.
And they're camouflage to boot, which is
pretty
fantastic.
much.
I've been speaking with Airman First Class Ashley Boros of our maintenance group. She works in the aircraft structural maintenance section, working on her apprenticeship and her upgrade training, and has found a good home and a good family here with the Air National Guard. Ashley, thanks for talking with me.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Hope you enjoyed this session of Beneath the Wing with Ashley Boros. Hope you tune in next time. As always, thanks for joining me on Beneath the Wing, where those connected with the 133rd Airlift Wing, Minnesota Air National Guard share their stories of strength and success. We will be releasing a new first-year story each Tuesday and Thursday throughout the month of February, March, and April. If you think you are someone whose story could be a part of our Wings family here in Minnesota and are seeking direction for your next step in life, or you know someone who is, please explore our opportunities at 133aw.ang.af.mil and share these podcasts. If you're outside our local area but are still interested in serving in the Air National Guard in your state or territory, goang.com will get you started. That's GOANG.com. As always, I'd like to thank our Public Affairs section, especially Amy Lovegren, for her post-production and release work. I've been your host, Wing Command Chief Master Sergeant Mark Legvold.